The truth of the matter is that NASA took a very long time to come up with their chosen presidential flag bearer. That is the truth. Yeah? And although they tried to convince us very much that they were in unity, the discussion was cordial, things were going on okay, many Kenyans suspected that was not the truth. Well, today I'm here to give you the inside details of the backroom deals, what was actually happening, and to prove to you that it was a very serious tug of war. We shall start with a leaked document, a very confidential document of NASA, which you can now see on your screens, where the steering committee submitted its choice, or rather its decision, of who the NASA flag bearer was going to be. As you can see there on your screen, indeed it was Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Now this document was drafted by a lawyer, and one of the first things you should know, lawyers use the English word carefully. Yeah, they do not use words which mean something else to say something else. Yeah, so let us keep that in mind as I point out something to you that is very important here. Bear with me as I read the last two paragraphs. I'm well aware you can read the English language, but bear with me as I read them again. Having engaged in and completed full and frank deliberations and collected feedback from across the country and from all stakeholders, last paragraph, hereby confirm that it is the decision of the NASA Steering Committee that His Excellency Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka be the 2017 NASA presidential candidate, pending ratification of this decision by the NASA Delegates Forum on 22nd March 2017. Now, according to me, those two paragraphs are explosive. Those two paragraphs tell us something very important that nobody knew, or rather many people did not know or even suspect. I'm sure most of you have already seen it. And that is, it implies, or rather it tells us, that the decision of the NASA Steering Committee on the NASA presidential candidate was supposed to be final. Yeah? Whatever decision, whatever candidate they came up with was supposed to be accepted by the principals without argument and without further discussion. Otherwise, the document would have had words like we propose, we suggest, yeah, but it has very strong words like decision. Yeah, we confirm that it is the decision. Yeah, a decision is something which has already been decided. Yeah, and then even further to confirm this, it says pending ratification of this decision by the NASA Delegates Forum. It does not even mention the principals. Yeah, it just says straight from the steering committee to the delegates, and then the delegates ratify it and it's done. Well, my guess is that it was also supposed to have ratification amongst the principals. Yeah, because I think that is where it was hijacked. Because what should have really ideally happened, now we know, is that the steering committee was supposed to make a decision, take it to the delegates conference, and then even the principals were supposed to hear about this for the first time at the delegates conference. Yeah, it was out of their hands. Yeah, if we read this document correctly. Now, the meaning of the word ratification, yeah, I looked it up so that we're sure. It means making it officially valid. Yeah, giving formal consent to a treaty. Yeah, and making it officially valid. There's no talk there about a discussion, deliberation. There's no talk about sitting down to discuss and see whether the decision was correct or not. Yeah, that does not come in. Bottom line, we now know that the choice of the NASA presidential flag bearer had a lot of hiccups, and it had a lot of hijacking. We know that the original agreement that they had was that the steering committee was supposed to come up with a candidate who would be the flag bearer of NASA. They were supposed to take this direct to the delegates forum, which was supposed to ratify. Yeah? In other words, the matter was out of the hands of the principals. So what went wrong? What changed the whole issue? Who hijacked this whole process? I want us to look at that very quickly. Quickly, because I've prepared a very intensive dossier that details exactly what happened, exactly what went wrong with the original plan. Yeah, my Club 1999 members already have it, and you too can have it in a few minutes. But anyway, on to something else I wanted to cover. Amazingly, when you look at the events that followed the date on this highly confidential document, we begin to understand. In fact, everything fits like a glove. The action and behavior of NASA principals and other top NASA officials becomes very clear, very understandable. We now understand totally what was going on. Assuming that the steering committee decision of Kalonzo Musyoka as the NASA flag bearer leaked to the principals, because it must have, we saw a certain behavior, especially in the principal who had been chosen by the steering committee, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. That document is dated 22nd February. On 16th March, Kalonzo Musyoka rushed to Wiper Party headquarters, and in an event that was covered by the press with a lot of fanfare, he received a nomination certificate clearing him to stand for the presidency. Naturally, this was a lot of hula baloo about nothing, because what ideally should have happened if he really needed a certificate, yeah, in order to have to validate his choice by NASA, his choice as presidential flag bearer by NASA, all he needed to do was go into his office at Wiper and tell the secretary to type something, and then get the signatures and walks out. But all this fanfare, the press there presenting him the certificate, him making a speech, was all to make a statement. Yeah, I believe that Kalonzo realized that this thing was going to be hijacked from him, and he tried everything in his power to ensure that it is not. Now we understand very clearly where such statements as no Kalonzo, no NASA, where they came from. Yeah, we understand why legislator Francis Nyenze was speaking so abusively. Yeah, that if Kalonzo is not the flag bearer, you remember his words, if Kalonzo is not the flag bearer, then NASA will not be NASA. It could be the Nyanza Super Alliance. Remember him saying something like that? Yeah, very abusive, and of course very misleading, because NASA is not a Nyanza party. I mean, it has principles from across the country. Okay, yeah, but now we understand all that. Yeah, we understand why. We also understand the meeting that took place at Mali, which was called the Mali Declaration of the Akamba people. Yeah, we now understand where all these things came from. It came from a situation where the steering committee had already cleared Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka to be the presidential flag bearer of NASA. But something went wrong. What actually went wrong? What brought about the change so that we got a totally different flag bearer? Yeah? Now that is covered entirely in my dossier, which my members of Club 1999 have. But for now, let us move very quickly and analyze, yeah, the political impact that a Kalonzo Musyoka NASA flag bearer announcement would have had. Okay? Now, on November 11th, 2016, Kalonzo Musyoka called himself Kenya's Donald Trump. Yeah? This was just shortly, days after Donald Trump had shockingly won the US elections. Okay? This was November 16th. Kalonzo Musyoka, during addressing his supporters at Sultan Hamoud in Makueni County, told them that he was the best candidate to unseat President Uhuru Kenyatta, and he also said he's Kenya's Donald Trump. Yeah? Then he added that he was capable of getting votes from President Uhuru Kenyatta's backyard, Murang'a, Kiambu. He also mentioned two other places, Northeastern and the Rift Valley. Let's analyze that. The Akamba people and the Kikuyu people have a lot in common. Okay? Many people look at them as cousins. Yeah? They have no problem with each other. Bottom line, it would have been much easier for Kalonzo to woo votes from Central Province than it will ever be for Raila Odinga to do so. So this is the ace, this is the advantage. Just a minute, this is not my opinion. I'm just giving you an analysis of what is on the ground and what must have transpired. Okay? Yeah, so Kalonzo Musyoka was best placed to get votes from Uhuru Kenyatta's backyard. Yeah? And it's a fact. It is much easier and very unfortunate in our country because of the tribal mechanisms, the tribal propaganda that has been built over very many years that actually started in 1969. You really should catch my series on Boy and New Evidence because it lays bare where all that thing started and why it is so deeply rooted today in Kenya. Yeah? Anyway, so the truth is, it is much easier for Kalonzo Musyoka to get votes from Central Province than it will ever be for Raila Odinga, and that is a fact. Northeastern and Rift Valley, Kalonzo has been wooing those provinces for decades. Yeah, he started after Moi left power in 2002. When there was a fallout within KANU, when President Moi presented Uhuru as his preferred successor. In the run-up to that, Kalonzo had spent a lot of time and money, especially in the Rift Valley, convincing Rift Valley voters that they should be comfortable with him as president. Yeah, he was of course assuming that Moi was going to name him as successor, and that he was going to be the KANU flag bearer in 2002, and that he was going to win. So clearly, that would have been Kalonzo's big advantage. And the assumption, of course, was that Raila was going to fully back this, Wetangula was going to fully back this, and of course Musalia Mudavadi was going to fully back this. So naming Kalonzo would have taken Jubilee completely by surprise, and hopefully the idea was Jubilee would never have recovered from it, and NASA would have carried the election, and NASA would have carried the day. That was the analysis. Okay? Of course, I have a completely different analysis. I have a completely different view from this, which maybe I can take a minute or so to share. Well, it is true that it would have been easier for Kalonzo to be able to get votes from Jubilee strongholds like the ones in central Kenya. But the operative word here is easier. Yeah? As to, if we look now at the reality, would he have done so? That's a 50-50 question at best. But my gut feeling tells me he would not have been able to do much of a dent as far as Central Province votes are concerned. But the truth is, Kalonzo would be more acceptable to the House of Mumbi, much, much more acceptable to the House of Mumbi than Raila would ever be. Okay? Let me put it this way. People have done very desperate things to ensure that Raila Odinga is not the president of Kenya, or that Raila Odinga never makes it to State House. Yeah? We have seen that in history. People have done very, very desperate things. The truth is, those same people would not even think of doing desperate things with Kalonzo Musyoka as the presidential candidate. He's somebody they would easily embrace and accept. Okay? So that is granted. However, being president is not just getting votes from central Kenya. It is much more than that. Yeah? And there are a lot of other things where Kalonzo Musyoka falls short. Okay? For example, it would be very hard for him to get a national appeal like the one Raila Odinga has. Okay? That would be very difficult for him. Secondly, his decision-making capabilities are in question. You know, as a president, you have to make decisions. Sometimes, most of the times, very hard decisions. Yeah. And already we have seen, like for example, let me just give you a very simple example which everybody is aware of. The current troubles within Wiper, yeah, point to a leadership that has not been able to make clear decisions. Yeah, because when you postpone decisions, when you try and keep too many balls in the air, avoiding a decision, what is happening now is in Wiper is what normally happens in the end. We have a fully fledged revolt. Founding financial backer and major member of Wiper, Governor Johnston Muthama, yeah, not governor, sorry, Senator Johnston Muthama, has left the party kind of, because what he has done, he has said he wants nothing to do with Wiper. He has accused Kalonzo of being dictatorial, He has made so many accusations against Kalonzo. Yeah? And then finally finished with a kicker when he was asked if he has left Wiper. He said he has invested a lot of things in Wiper. He has his property in Wiper. So he's not going to leave Wiper without his property. Of course, he was referring to the huge financial investment he has made in the party. Yeah? My guess would be that he wants to be paid back, which is not viable. But anyway, that's just an example. Then on the other side, we have long-serving legislator and current senator, Musila, who was accused Kalonzo of favoring Governor Malombe, the current governor of Kitui, who Musila wanted to unseat. Yeah? And Musila has made the bold move, unprecedented, of leaving Wiper. Yeah? He has actually defected from Wiper. You know, you cannot stand as an independent candidate when you're a member of a certain political party. You have to completely leave so that you stand. So Musila still wants to vie for governor of Kitui, yeah, because he was rigged out in the primaries by Malombe, and that rigging out by Malombe was ratified by or supported by party leader Kalonzo Musyoka. Yeah, so you see what we're talking about here. This kind of background obviously puts a lot of question marks on a Kalonzo presidency. But there was something else much more serious that disqualified Kalonzo. Despite the fact that he had already been chosen, he had already been selected by the steering committee, there's something much bigger that disqualified Kalonzo from being the NASA candidate for these general elections. And all that is in the special dose you have prepared. Club 1999 members already have it, and all you need to do to have it is join Club 1999 today. Just check details below this video. In the description and comments area, you will see what you need to do to become a member of Club 1999. I think that's it for now. I hope you've enjoyed this revelation. Now we know a lot of things about NASA that we did not know before. We know a lot of things about what happened leading up to the choice of the presidential flag bearer. Yeah, we don't know what happened after this, but anybody who gets a hold of my dossier will know exactly what happened after this, so that the whole thing came to be changed. It's not what you think. Everybody would assume, Raila Odinga hijacked the whole process. You know, he outmaneuvered Kalonzo. No. It didn't quite work out like that. It is quite an explosive dossier. And that's why it's not in the public domain. Yeah, so make sure you catch it. Details are there below. Thank you very much for your time. This is Chris Kumekucha.